Uh, I like this quote by Sherry Huber. The quality of our experience is determined by the focus of our attention. The quality of our experience is determined by the focus of our attention. And I think we all know the feeling of kind of being scattered in our attention or a little disassociated or having so much anticipation about an event that when the event actually happens, we forget to be just fully grounded and present for it. The time of our lives just can go by so quickly. And we can forget sometimes that truly what is creating the quality of our lives is how much grounding and focus we have in the everyday moment. So this sense of presence, and it's not. I don't know about you, but sometimes it's much easier than other times to be fully present. We have a lot going on in our lives. We have a lot in our minds. There's a lot of input that comes into us all the time through all the ways, the mediums in which information is lightning speed coming toward us. We fill ourselves with lots of information. And so sometimes just clearing the mind can be very difficult because we have so much in our minds. So our yoga practice is a refuge for this capacity to build presence, to really settle into cultivating focus, cultivating attention, so that we can enjoy and really have a high quality of our lives. And this shows up just when we're by ourselves, but it especially shows up in our relationships. So I know that everyone knows the experience of wishing they were more present when they're with someone that they love, when you have a lot on your mind and you really want to just be grounded and present with someone, but it's difficult to do so. So what are your practices that you do? You know, besides your yoga practice, do you cultivate bits of presence throughout your day? Do you stop and pause from the busy schedule to observe your moments? You know, observe nature, observe the people that you're with, speak less, observe more, think less, feel more. You know, we have all sorts of ways that we can go about this. So let's go ahead and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to cultivate this sense of presence. All right, so if you've been rushing around all morning, if there's a lot on the to-do list or a lot in the to-do mind, let's put the list down. Let's put the need for thinking through all the solutions. Let's drop everything and be in the body. All right, so feel into your breath. Can you let your exhales be just a little teeny bit longer? Let them take a nice stroll. The exhales do not have to run, they can just stroll. Soften into the expressionless of your face. See if you can melt into the blank slate. And go deeper than just the surface of not smiling or frowning or crinking up your eyes or nose. See if you can go beyond the surface of the skin and melt inside your face deeper, like the eye sockets, even behind your eyes. Feel the space where the brain can start to recede away from the skull bones in a very gentle, we're not squeezing the brain. We're just getting that sense that it can melt and retreat. Melt and retreat through the sinuses. Kind of feel your cheekbones and behind your cheekbones. Melt into the jaw. And relax the base of the skull. Feel the tongue soften in all its places, the roots of your tongue. Relax your teeth. Relax your palates. And breathe into all the space you've just cultivated in your head. Allow your breath to travel and open through your torso as well. The belly is free, receive. All right. Round your pelvis. Place your palms together. Feel both the connection of the earth and the heavens above. Bow in. Offer an intention. Let's release our hands. So mindfulness practices can show up, let's go ahead and lie down on our back, can show up in so many ways. You can practice mindfulness when you're eating. You know, it's peach season. When you eat a peach, can you savor every bite and feel the textures and the juice and the sweetness, the smell? Mindfulness practices sometimes are easiest. Go ahead and start stretching your body in nature. You know, nature has a way of arresting our mind sometimes and bringing us the gift of presence comes a little more naturally. So these are just two examples, but anything that you can do throughout your day to help you pause and have a mindful moment is a good thing. Helping us reach into that state of presence. All right, bring your knees into your chest. And our yoga practice is this. We get to feel into the body. All right, so what are you feeling? Let's begin to circle the knees, moving one direction a few times. Try to pay attention to everything that you're feeling, how not only in your sacrum and your back, but how does your head feel? How does your breath feel? Is there any part of your body that's a little uncomfortable? Is there any part of your body that feels really free? All right, let's open up the knees away from each other and back in, just feeling into the range of motion, what's available in your hips right now. All right, and then come into Supta Baddha Konasana for a moment. Soles of the feet come to touch. Allow your knees to splay open. You can always put your fists underneath your hip joints, kind of your outer hip joints at your thighs, if you need a little support. Otherwise, you can just have your arms free. Take a deep breath. Notice the openness. You might feel that you're tipping to one side, that one side drops a little lower. Just feel into what's here. And then while your legs are in that position, stretch your arms overhead and reach through your sides. Okay, we're going to pick up our knees, put our feet flat on the ground, and stretch our legs straight. Reach one more time, deep breath. Exhale, knees into your chest. Pick your head up. Release your head down, right knee into the chest. Left leg comes long on the floor. Feel a good squeeze. Give a chance for your feet to wake up and open. Wiggle your toes and roll your ankles. And then change sides. Left knee in, right leg comes long on the ground. Feel some movement through your feet.
All right, and then we're gonna do this a little speedy so that we're strengthening our core, kind of waking up our core. So right knee in, and then left knee in, then right knee in, left knee in. And you can go faster than that or slower than that, but just start to feel your hip flexors and your core muscles start to wake up and engage. Still feel that sense of softness in your skull, the ease across your face that we cultivated in the beginning. All right, and then put your feet down onto the ground. Bring your arms straight out to the side. Feet are hip width apart or wider, and let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. Just feel into the range of motion that's here in your hip joints, in your sideways. All right, and then roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Okay, so let's move through some cat-cows, arching and rounding the spine. Take your time. Feel into the movement of your vertebrae. All right, so we didn't do our usual starfishes that we normally do, so just notice this is the first flexion and extension of the spine, so pay attention. How is that making you feel? And then move things around. You can roll through your shoulders, roll through your hips, move around in your head. There's no rules. Just let your body kind of find the movement pattern that it wants. And then stretch back towards child's pose when you're ready and inch those hands forward out in front of you. Relax your skull. Take a deep breath in. Soften into an exhale. Relax. All right, so our breath is probably our easiest portal into the present moment. So whenever you find yourself moving around inside the, closets in your mind, past or future, see if you can allow the breath to take you back home into this moment. Walk the hands over to one side of your mat or the other, either way, we're going to do both, and feel the rib cage stretch and open. Relax your skull. Keep finding your way into the rhythm of your breathing. Regardless of whether you feel choppy or smooth in the breath, speedy or slow in the breath, you're in the breath. So it's a great place to live. Walk your hands over to the other side. Feel the sense of ease come through your skull. All that musculature that you relaxed in your face earlier, let it soften again. And come back up. Now sit on your heels or sit on a block, whichever feels good. If this is not okay, you can sit cross-legged as well or sit up on a chair. Okay, take your hands behind your head. We're going to open up the chest here. Find the breath. And we're going to do some cat-cow rounding here. So elbows come toward each other, tuck the chin toward the chest. And then open, elbows wide, a teeny bit of the back bend, and just back and forth with the breath. Exhale to round, inhale to open up. One more time. Exhale to drop in, inhale to open up. And then reach the arms to the sky, a big cactus through your arms. And then relax your hands down back to child's pose. Okay, inch those arms forward, relax your neck. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Reach the left arm up in the air, find the breath. Exhale and slide that shoulder down and through, twisting. All right, so open up the back of the shoulders now. Feel into the space there. Relax your neck. Feel a sense of ease. There's no tension to be had. We don't have to hold our necks anywhere. And then inhale, arm coming back up, hand coming down, change sides, lifting that arm to the sky. Exhale and slide that shoulder through. Gaze toward the floor. Breathing deeply.
Relax the neck. Pay attention to the sensations of the body. The sensations of the body live in the present moment. You know, we of course have histories in our body that can trigger chain reactions, responses in our body, but truly the sensations that we feel are here and now.
Okay, inhale, reach the arm up and place the hand down and find your first dog pose.
All right, so let's find any movement that you want. Feel free to shake, bounce, you can pedal, you know, just find your way into movement that's available to you. Breathing deeply. Find your way into stillness. So root the hands and feet. Find the four corners. See if you can melt. Let the earth receive you and then rebound off the earth into spaciousness. Pay attention to the neck, to the upper shoulders. Is there space in your neck and shoulders? See if you can turn the eyes of the elbows maybe toward each other, maybe even up toward the sky. Root into the index finger mounds. And then walk your feet forward and come into Uttanasana. Fold, relax your neck. Feel free to shimmy your hips left and right. Relax your spine. And then take your feet a little bit wider than your hips. And we're going to imagine our torso is like an elephant trunk that we're just kind of swaying from one side to the other. We're getting some weight into one foot and then weight into the other foot. Just finding a sense of ease. Make sure your neck is fully relaxed. And then bring your feet back into a hip width apart. Halfway lift. Spine gets longer. Stretch the backs of the legs, the backs of the knees. And then melt and fold. Drop your sit bones and rise up. So lifting your arms all the way to the sky. Open your breath. Cactus your arms or spread them out. And then bring them down to your sides. All right, let's pause in Tadasana for a moment. This sense of being able to find ground. Okay, so drop your weight into your heels and toes. Come up onto our tippy toes. Bring your arms out to the sides. Start to wake up some of the balance muscles in your legs. Open the chest, reach your hands. Big breaths, and then back down onto your heels. One more time, up onto the toes, and it doesn't matter how high onto your toes. You could just be like hovering your heels off the floor. You don't have to stretch or stress your toe joints. Big breaths, and relax and fold. Relax your hips, soften your skull. Take your feet hip width apart. You can grab blocks if you want to. Halfway lift here. And then exhale and bend your knees, kind of like a wide-legged chair pose. We're going to put our hands on the outside of your knees and press your knees into your hands and your hands into your knees. Root the four corners of your feet and pull your feet apart as well. Just waking up the outer rim of the legs, long spine. And then melt and soften. Step back to dog pose. The spine gets longer here. Take your legs wide apart on the mat. Maybe even turn your toes in so you feel ease across your belly, your diaphragm, your pelvis. Breathe into that space. Relax your neck. And we're going to come forward into a plank. You can keep your feet wide or put them back into hip width apart. And find that sense of stability. All right, so integrating, feeling your breath travel to the outer rims of your rib cage. A long, steady exhale. All right, find your way all the way to the ground. Roll the shoulders a few times, just get used to that openness. And then inhale and come up to Cobra Pose. Exhale and melt back down. Once more, rising up
Keep the elbows bent, shoulders down, and then relax. Stretch your arms out in front of you like a wide cobra, and then use this opportunity to feel the extension through your spine. So reach into your legs, stretch your belly, feel the length of your spine, keep your neck soft. And then exhale and relax. Come up onto all fours, move the spine about. Okay, breathing well. Okay. Now pick up your feet and roll your ankles around. Just once again, warm up all those muscles around your ankles. Okay. Let's rest back into child's pose for a moment. Free up your low back. Breathing deeply. Bring your blocks forward if you want. Right foot coming forward. Back knee can stay on the ground for a moment. Just feel into your lunge. Open up the hips. All right, and then we're going to curl that back toe under and lift your knee off the floor for a full lunge. Okay, let's start moving here. We're going to bend and straighten the front knee. Now let the purpose of this, obviously you're stretching your hamstring and your hip flexors, but feel the rhythm of your breath. So the movement is with the breath. So really we're just trying to wake up the rhythm of our breathing, that we're following the rhythm of our breathing. Doesn't matter where you inhale, doesn't matter where you exhale. You're just flowing rhythmically with your breath. All right, when you're ready, ground yourself. Find your lunge as you're ready. Take your time to root your legs. Then bring your arms wherever they want to be. Open up through the heart. Full breath here. Inhaling and exhaling. Ground your front heel into the earth. And then forward, hands on blocks. Come into half splits here. Lift that left leg up in the air. While you're here with your hands on blocks, be very mindful and make sure you feel stable on your blocks. Come up onto your toes, heel off the ground, lift that leg in the air. And then we're gonna take a giant step back to a lunge. Reach the arms up in the air. Big breaths, lean back if it feels nice. And hands down, dog pose. Touch your toes together this time. So our heels touch and our ankles touch. And just notice, two become one. Two legs become one unit. Big breaths. Full exhales. Come forward like this with your feet together. Notice the difference in your plank when your legs are together. Maybe it's easier, maybe it's harder. Just notice the sensations of the body. All right, find your way down. Keep your legs together. Open up to a cobra or any back bend that your body likes best. Exhale and come back down. Now take your legs wide apart on the mat. Curl your toes under so you can lift your whole thigh up and get your legs to be wide. Head stays down on the hands. And we're gonna lift from our hips so the legs are straight. And it doesn't matter if you don't get very high off the ground or not even off the ground at all, but it's the work of the outer hips that we're looking for here. Big breaths. All right, and then relax and come up onto your hands and your knees. Move the spine about. Are you moving with the rhythm of your breathing? From here, left foot comes forward to a lunge. Maybe you like blocks. Keep your knee down on the ground for a moment. Enjoy the hip flexor stretch of that back leg. Open the heart. Fill up your breath. Empty your breath. Stay in the presence of breathing. As you're ready, curl that toe under. Lift up into a lunge. And let's start to bend and straighten the front knee. The main purpose is to find the rhythm of breath.
Let your exhales take
all the time in the world that they need. So be patient with the movement. Follow your breath.
When you're ready, ground. Feel the roots of your feet.
Then rise up as you're ready. Okay, so perhaps you prefer keeping your hands down. Maybe you're better with your arms up. So just find whatever is working for you. Open up through the heart, extend and spread your wings. Breathing well, ground the front heel. Keep the neck relaxed, all that softness in your face. All right, as your breath is ready to support you, climb up into half splits on this side. Your leg is straight back in the air behind you. Feel your hips square up. Extend through your spine. Root through your foot on the ground. Lift up through the hip. When you're ready, come up onto the toes. Just notice what's different when you're on a little bit less support. Breathing well.
And then a giant step back to a lunge again.
Lift up. Don't worry if you lose your balance. It's normal. Breathing well. And then walk your back foot forward and come into Tadasana. Pause here for a moment. Feel into the grounding of your feet. Inhale and rise up. Touch your toes together. Chair pose here. So your arms can be up. Maybe you'd rather have your arms wide or down, or your hands to your heart. So just find the pathway that serves you in this moment. Breathing deeply. Now come up onto the toes if you can. Focus your attention. Bring your arms out to the sides. Relax your neck. And we're going to come up and stand on our tippy toes. Don't worry if your heels come down. Just bring them back up. Open the breath. Exhale. Heels down, feet hip width apart. Come to a squat. Hands on outer knees. Press into the outer knees with your hands and press your knees into hands, hands into knees. Ground the four corners of feet. And then relax. Hands down, back to dog pose. Full breaths here, long spine. Isometrically pull your feet apart on the mat and hug your hands toward each other on the mat. Breathing well. Come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. Integrating into the core. Find the breath traveling. Where is it going? Okay. Then put your knees down onto the ground and come down onto the earth. Arms down at your sides, palms facing the floor. Keep the neck long. Spread your legs apart. Inhale, lift everything up, arms and legs. Feel the outer hips work. Toes can turn out a little bit. Breathing well. Feel your diaphragm move. Exhale and relax. Come up onto your hands and your knees. Swish your spine around, move things about. And then come back to child's pose. Soften your skull. Relax your forehead down onto the ground. Sink into a state of ease here. Pause in your practice and breathe. Feel into the way your breath is moving you so that you have that sense of presence, whether it's presence in movement or presence in stillness. All right, we're gonna find our way up, and you can come through dog pose or you can just come up to stand, however is best for your body. We're gonna find our way to stand. Turn sideways on your mat once you get up there. And the legs are gonna come wide now. Wide-legged stance. Inhale, standing star. Find your breath. Exhale, goddess pose. Inhale, standing star. If you get dizzy, just be very gentle in this movement. You don't have to go far. One more time. Standing star. As you exhale, drop in. Okay, so we're going to, you all have done this with me before. We're gonna kind of move from one side to the other. I want you to grab a block for the beginning of this. We're gonna do it once with the block and once without. So the block is being held high over our head. We're gonna come into the bend of your right knee, cross over to the other side, and then push off to lift up. Now, look at me for a minute. Try not to do this, where you're really moving with your back. So this is all about grounding through the legs. So move into the lunge and then cross over to the other side and then push up. It doesn't matter. You can go not very deep, but the goal is to keep the spine long, that you're working with the grounding of the legs. How's your breath? I'm gonna pause at the top. And when you're ready, we're gonna go the other way. So once again, you wanna make sure that you're not kind of rounding your spine to do this. And if it feels like it's too much with the block, you can take the block away and you can do this, just without a lot of upper body movement. But if you can manage the block, it's a great way to integrate the whole body into this movement pattern. Use your glutes, use your core, use your legs. How is your breath? Okay, one more pass through. Pausing at the top, and then releasing the block. Relax your arms. Wide-legged stance, deep breath in, deep breath out. Turn your palms open. Just experience the state of wide stance. And we're going to do this without our arms doing this big swing. So you get to do whatever you want with your arms. This is the joy of being home alone. You can move in any way you want, but what I want you to feel is that your center of gravity is low and you're moving from one side to the other. So it can look, kind of like this, where you're moving from one side and stretching. You can be more like seaweed with your arms. You can do anything that feels really good. The whole goal here is to drop your weight, transfer your weight, and let your upper body be as fluid as your breath. Your toes can turn out a little bit or be forward. And pause again at the top. Big breath. Turn your feet forward now and rest down. Relax your head. Once again, finding the breath. We're grounding in a different way now. Our legs are straight, so it's a different quality of feeling the earth. See if you can melt. Soften all the muscles in your face. And then heel toe your feet in toward the center. Bend your knees and come all the way on up to stand. All right, so as we're here, once again, find your Tadasana where you're grounding your 2 feet. We're gonna move into a little bit of balanced posture here. So finding your way into tree pose, but before you do, feel your roots, grow some deep roots. Feel the openness across your chest. Round into your right foot, pick up your left and put it wherever your body likes it to be. You can hold on to a wall or a piece of furniture if you need.
Your foot does not have to be high up in your thigh, and it can be. All right, now if you want to, you can even have your toes still on the floor with your leg really low. So find the pathway. There's so many different places to put your leg. Once you're there, focus your gaze, come into your breathing, and put your arms anywhere you want them to be. They don't have to be straight up. They can be. Breathing well. Soft neck, soft knee that you're standing on. Find your roots. The quality of your experience is in direct relationship to the focus of your attention. Let's go ahead and place that foot down. You can roll your ankles about. Okay, we're grounding through our left foot now. Feel the spine. We're gonna open up our leg on this side for tree pose. You can have your foot high like this. You can have your foot down low with your toes still touching the floor. You can have your leg on your calf. Just try not to have your heel press against the inner knee. That's not so happy for the body. Once you're stable, hug that hip in. Use those outer hip muscles. Soften your knee. Feel the grounding of your foot. Put your arms anywhere that serves. Try not to stick your hip out. See if you can integrate into the body. Relax your neck. Come into the quality of your breathing. Soften your gaze. Loosen the hardness. Find the steadfastness without the hardness. And relax. And put your feet on the ground. Okay, rock again, up onto your toes, up onto your heels. Just feeling the joy of some balance. And then pause here. Full breaths. Okay, let's take our legs wide apart. Turn your right foot out to the side and come into Parsvakonasana. Stretch open through your side body. So remember, we're trying to ground both feet at the same time. We don't want to live just in the front leg. Okay, maybe your arm prefers to be out here instead of up overhead. Maybe you prefer to keep your hand down or your hand on your heart. So find the pathway that gives you breath. Ground into the feet. Okay, and rise all the way back up. Turn your feet the other way. Take a deep breath in. Bend your knee. So when you come into Parsvakonasana, remember, you want to track your knee in line with your middle toes. Try not to let your knee cave into the big toe side of your foot, which is really common. Keep that sense of aligning the knee with the middle toes as you stretch your arm, wherever it's going to go. So this posture really is about finding both legs and the roots. All of our standing poses have this great capacity to help us feel stable, resilient, strong, capable, and deeply grounded. These are all qualities of presence that are really nice. Who doesn't want to feel stable, right? So let's let ourselves feel that. Ground the wide stance. Feel the roots. Feel the openness and the expansion. Come back up. Heel toe your feet in. Okay. And find Tadasana one more time. So I feel like sometimes we neglect Tadasana a fair amount. It's just this kind of pose that we pause in for a moment, but let's just really feel the essence of Tadasana. So that next time you're talking to someone, it could be not someone you know well, just an acquaintance that you happen to run into. What would happen if you fully grounded yourself, dropped your hands, instead of crossing our arms or leaning into a leg or whatever we do to take away our body weight, what if we fully accepted and grounded ourselves and opened our heart to fully receive the other person? No expectations, no rush to go anywhere. Fully grounded, fully breathing. Can you start to get comfortable bearing your own body weight instead of leaning and locking and sinking? What does it feel like to have open joints, to have open ankles, open knees, an open pelvis, an open diaphragm, an open heart, an open chest, open arms, a head that doesn't have to reach forward? Does it get awkward or uncomfortable to have to just be standing in your own weight? Close your eyes and just feel the presence of this. Okay, let's get our legs wide one last time. We're going to come into Ardha Chandrasana, another balanced posture. You can always use a support of a wall if you need it. I have limited space, so I shorten my stance to begin with this. But if you want to start in triangle pose or Parsvakonasana, that's awesome. Have your right foot pointing straight to the short edge of the mat so that when you come up and put your hand on a block, you have the sense that your foot is not turned. All right, so open yourself up. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Give that leg some firmness in the air. Find your core. Unlock the knee you're standing on. Feel the length from crown to foot in the air. Feel the length from sternum to both hands. Feel the openness across the pelvis. Giant step back. Coming out of the posture. Second side. If you need support, you can do this pose with your whole back against the wall. You can do this pose with your foot resting on something. Okay, so take care to have your left foot not turn in or out. Find it straight. Find a pose to find your way in. Triangle pose, Parsvakonasana. And then when you're ready, bend that knee and lift up into Ardha Chandrasana on the side. Maybe your hand stays on your hip. Maybe you can stretch sternum to both hands. Feel the length of your crown to your heel. Stretch your heel. Open up your belly button toward your upper hip. See if you can spread open your pelvis without locking out your knee you're standing on. Keep softening the neck and shoulders. Spread your hands and feet. How's your breath? Is it here? Are you holding your breath? Can you rhythmically breathe? Giant step back the way we came and come back to the front of your mat. Last pass through vinyasa, arms up. Big breath. Exhale and fold forward. Let your back relax. Pause here for a moment. Let your back relax. Halfway lift. Step your foot back, dog pose. Breathing well. Come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady. Integrate into the center. Breathing well. Lower yourself down. Back bend of your choice on your inhale. As you exhale, relax your forehead. Turn your head or put your forehead on your hands. Pick up your feet and windshield wiper your knees left and right.
Let's find our way back onto all fours or all the way back to child's pose. Take the pathway that works for you. Breathing well. Okay, let's find our way into pigeon pose or reverse pigeon pose, whichever feels best to you. Right leg forward. So either put your right foot on your left knee if you're in reverse, or just right thigh over left thigh, or you can come into full pigeon pose. You want your joints to be in a happy place. Okay? Square the hips, long spine. No matter which pose you're ending up doing, your sit bones are wide. You're in a neutral pelvis, not super rounded. And support your head, either the back of your head on the ground or your forehead on a block. Melt the shoulders and allow yourself to breathe. Pay attention to the sound of your breath. Keep the exhales long. Try not to let the mind, as the body goes quiet, try not to let the mind be distracted. Stay in the presence of what you're feeling. All right, come on out of there. You can go back to dog pose and lift your leg up if you want. You can just switch sides. If you're in reverse pigeon pose, you can just switch your legs. Okay, so find what's available to you. You might need, I'm using a blanket underneath my pelvis. Maybe that feels good for you. I don't know. But sometimes hanging in space is not very relaxing, where our body stays on alert. So if we have something to drop our pelvis onto, there's a sense of ease that comes. If you're in pigeon pose, plug your knees toward the pelvis, wide sit bones, long spine, melt the head onto a support, block under your forehead. If you're on your back, melt the head into the ground. Feel a slight arch in your low back, so we're not pressing the low back into the earth. Breathing deeply. Feed our way back up. Let's come to dog pose or swing the leg around. So for this next posture, you need a blanket or you can use a bolster. I'm going to use 2 blankets. You can use whatever you have. Okay. So we're going to get our pelvis up on the blankets, and then I'm going to take my 2 blocks, one on either side of my blankets. So hopefully whatever you've got at home, pillows, bolsters, blankets, you have what you need. All right, so just enjoy a very low bridge for a moment. Once you get settled, where your pelvis is on the blanket, your feet are on the floor, your spine is down on the ground, we're going to lift our hips and scooch them over to the right. And then we're going to bring our knees up and we're going to drop them over to the left. So now this is where that block is going to come into handy. We're going to rest the shins on the block. So breathe your way here. A deep inhale and a deeper exhale.
melt the skull on the ground. Now, if you are able or feel inclined, you can straighten, keep your knees together, but you can straighten the top leg. You can hold on to your leg somewhere and just allow the right hip to stretch a little bit more. Bend the knee again and go ahead and find a neutral pose again. So just come onto the blankets, feet on the ground. Then when you're ready, we're going to shift to the other side. So scooting your hips over to the left. The knees are going to come up and drop them to the right. So we're going to have the block underneath our right shin to support our legs. Breathing well. If you want to turn your head left, you can, or you can look straight up. You want to straighten your top leg. Straighten your top leg, grab onto the big toe or hold your calf somewhere. Move your left hip away from your shoulder. All right, so whenever you're ready, we're going to come back. You can either choose to stay on your blanket for happy baby pose or knees to chest, or you can come off your blanket. So you make a choice for how you feel. As you prepare for Shavasana, maybe you want those blankets to be underneath your knees or thighs or calves. Maybe you want to be flat. Okay, so if there's anything else that your body needs for before Shavasana, take your posture. And then remember that the quality of our experience is in direct relationship to the focus of our attention. So are you here? Shavasana is way better when you're present for it than when your mind's off racing to the past or the future. So let's drop in. Suspend any thoughts that don't include your breath or body. So just allow yourself to stay fully focused and present on the way your body is melting, the way your breath is feeling.
Swim to the surface of your body again. Start to become aware of the space around you. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, and maybe roll your wrists and your ankles. Perhaps turn your head from one side to the other. And give yourself a big full body stretch. Knees into your chest and rock a bit. Rock all the way over onto your side. And take your time, find your way up to a seated posture. Let's feel into the beauty of our presence. Offer this quality of your presence to another. And truly, not only in this moment as we offer our energy, but in every moment of the day when you interact with people, with animals, with plants. If you are able to give your full attention, it is one of the greatest gifts that we can give each other. Namaste. Hope you have a present day.